Good afternoon, everyone. Buongiorno. We are here to talk about artificial intelligence and art. That's why we have three artists. Each of them is going to present his own project, and we will leave a lot of time for question and answer, because there is a lot of question about AI that is entering in all the creative business or works. So there is a lot of legal issue, a lot of questioning about who is the artist, is both a machine and an artist create something. So all these questions can come in the hand to myself or to the artists that are here. I think from time to time we will switch to Italian, because some of the piece of art that are going to be presented are Italian. We talk about Renaissance. So let me introduce you the three artists that are here. And you can see in an immersive area in the stand, in the other building, all the three projects in 3D and very well explained. So you are all of you welcome to come there. Please, first on my right is Riccardo. Please, Riccardo. Riccardo is an Italian artist. Thank you so much. Riccardo is from Rome, and he has created something that is called hell. Every one of you know Dante Alighieri, is our poet. He described what is going on after our death. And he is going to create with artificial intelligence and in a different way, what does it mean hell following Dante Alighieri. Then I have here Franz Fisnaller. I think that some of you have met him last year. He was in the same stand with me presenting the scene of Leonardo da Vinci, The Last Supper in English. So it was beautiful. We were able to enter inside this beautiful painting of Leonardo da Vinci and discovering why this painting that was not, let's say, the most well done from an artistic point of view. Raffaello and other Italian artists, they did really something great during this period, but this one is the most captivating. So he explained why. That was very interesting. Then we have here another lady, and I am happy that she accepted to come here. She's an engineer, but she's an artist as well. That's why she is responsible of a great place that is called the Cineca in Bologna. Is a laboratory with the biggest European biggest computers to dedicate to research. And with there, we are going to travel on time, and that will be great. We will visit something that is not anymore available, doesn't exist anymore, but thanks to the AI, we can visit it virtually. So thank you very much to be here. And I think I can pass the microphone to Riccardo. Riccardo presented his work in a big museum in Italy, in Rome, called Maxi. And this project has been done when, Riccardo?
It was born in July 22.
So it was done 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Technology has made enormous change since 2 years ago. He should have used differently the algorithm if it was doing the same today. So that's very interesting also that Riccardo is not only presenting the project, but also tell you what were the limitations of technology at this time and what he could do today. So please, Ricardo.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thanks to be here.
And everything is going to...
I suppose that we will show a little abstract from my work, which is a brief animation of the operas that are composing the artificial hell, how it's called, the opera. Okay, what did you watch? This is the piece of the Divine Comedy, of the L by Dante Alighieri of the Divine Comedy, from the river Stygia to the end of the city of Dite, which is a short passage where Dante and Virgil will go through the condemnation of the damned of the hell. How it was done in...
Riccardo, sorry, just 1 second. Everyone is familiar with the Dante Alighieri. First question. You know him, heard about him or no? Because talking about something specific of Dante Alighieri, if you have never heard about him, it's better to talk about him before and then the day.
Okay.
Every Italian know Dante Alighieri. The public here, do you know who is Dante Alighieri? And the Divina Commedia and Hell? No? Oui? Yes. No. This is something, the most important book that has been written during Renaissance. This is for the non-Italian deep learning about the Divina Commedia. It is a poem, and every artist since the 12th, 13th century has been inspired by this poem. There are books, painting, a lot of piece of art that has been created by the human imagination on Dante Alighieri, the hell, the purgatory, and the paradise. So all of them. But this is not something that not our artist invented. Dante Alighieri is a fundamental person and artist Italian. And what he did, and is going to explain, with artificial intelligence, revives differently this beautiful book and painting that are, you go to Florence, you go everywhere in Italy, you find painting inspired by Dante Alighieri history. So that's why maybe you want to talk something in Italian or something, ma nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita, I thought that this video should be presented. For some reason, has not been ready in the regia. But it's better to hear the poem and check what it's doing. So you can come in the booth and you will see it and listen to it. Please, Riccardo.
Thank you, Diana. Well, the Divine Comedy is made by three main parts that are the hell, the purgatory, and the paradise. I choose the hell because I didn't know that the artificial intelligence softwares had many restrictions about the languages to be used into the prompt engineering. Just to be clear, in the 2022, in July, it was the first day that Midjourney, which is a software that generates images, was available to the public. Basically, how it works, how does it work? You write into a bar the description of the image that you want the software to generate, and at that point the software will take today a few seconds to generate the image. 2 years ago it was needed about 30-40 seconds for every image. Of course, you didn't have much control on the style, on the aspect ratio, on the composition, on the colors that the images should have presented. So, for example, if I wrote a dancer in Rome, the software would generate 4 kinds of different dancers in Rome in different kind of styles with different aspect ratios and colors. The problem was that I was amazed by the work from Gustave Doré, which is a very Gothic and famous design of the Divine Comedy, and I wanted the images to be Gothic and somehow like painted with a painting style. So I tried many kind of keywords into the description in order to reach that kind of feeling that the image should have presented. But there were a few problems that I can call blood, sweat, and tears, and now I will going to explain why. The first problem was that for those who don't know, the hell by Dante Alighieri is very violent, is very fulfilled of blood. And there's one little problem with artificial intelligence software that ban the word blood. So if you need to generate images that are in accordance with the poetry and the verses by Dante, and you want to be philologically coherent with the poetry of Alighieri, you cannot avoid the blood. You cannot avoid the violence. And you cannot avoid the death. And we are in the hell. So how can you manipulate, how can you betray the software in order to make him generate the image that you need? Well, I tried a few tricks, linguistic tricks, and just a few examples to understand each other. Instead of blood, I used the Pantone code that compose the blood. And I wrote rubbered liquid in hashtag A182468 featuring hashtag H191713, which are the Pantone code of the blood. And in this way, the blood came up. So you can imagine how do you feel when you read a very beautiful verse in Florentine dialect from the 13th century, and you transpose this beauty into this language by a machine. So This was one example. Another example is about the words that are bad for the software. For example, dung, or shit, or poop. These are synonymous. For example, there's in the ⴛᴏᴅᴇ, which is a part of the DL, there is a prostitute called ⴤ that dives into the shit. Sorry for the term. Is Dante again.
Don't go in there.
And how, if I wrote a beautiful lady diving into the shit, there was a banner that said the word shit is banned. If you try to turn around this banning, you will be turn it off, basically. Your account will expire. So how do you do that? I wrote a beautiful lady diving into melted chocolate. In this way, the ⴛᴏᴅᴇ were preserved. So it's like, well, the beautiful thing about this kind of translation is that you can understand how much the human feeling can express with freedom, and how less freedom you have when you had to use machines and softwares. But the result is the most important thing. The second term that I used with blood, sweat and tears is sweat. Why? At the beginning of the AI generative revolution, there was not what we call today consistency. Consistency is the capability of the software to generate a sequence of images that are coherent, stylistically coherent from each other. Why? Because at that moment, you weren't able to train the software. You couldn't insert, upload images in order to make the software use references for the synthetic generation. So what happened? That if I was writing a description at 3 o'clock and a kind of image was generated, after 30 seconds, 40 seconds, the same description in the same way generated a completely different style, a completely different tone of color, a completely different image in order of out of coherence. How do you solve this kind of stuff? You have to be very, very quick in the writing process of the transcription, and you need to spend as less time as possible between one description and the other. So I divided the hell into 212 images, and I divided these images in little sequences, and I descripted every sequences as fast as I could, hour after hour, without leaving the machine. So I was stuck to the computer even for 14 hours, 15 hours consecutively. And the third word is tears, because as you can imagine, if you need to make all this kind of description, hundreds and hundreds of description of something that is really, really dark, really, really sad, because the hell is not a party, let's say. Honestly, I did 10,076 errors in my descriptions. So when you spend that 66 days every day for 14 hours a day, facing the hell, image after image, a little of hell, you bring it inside yourself. And this is the third part of my story. And
if we have time, bravo, Riccardo. is extraordinary. If we have time, he's going to tell you the story of Paolo and Francesca. But if we have time, I will pass the microphone to Franz Kristaller, that last year presented Leonardo, and this year he has something really amazing. Two great projects. One of them is magic. Please, Franz.
So, why is the Tower of Babel here this year in this conference? It is because Diana has basically incentivated myself to see how to bring the project here into the conference. So the artwork of Bruegel, which was done in the 15th century, he was trying to depict in the painting, I don't know if you know the painting, can you switch please to the video number 2? I brought here not the entire project because you can see, like we said before, also his project in the booth downstairs, and maybe a lot of you have already seen it. Here's just a sort of an extract, and I give the tale of the last part of the video where I speak about the destruction. So this is an interpretation trying to represent a comparison in between, a parallelism of what we are facing at nowadays, like the problems that he was just explaining before, what we are facing nowadays in our new development of a new kind of cultural society, using all the tools in that way. So the painting is a small painting. It's 1 meter 30 something in the large, and it is rather small. So when you go and see it, you cannot see even the details by itself because you don't have the proximity to approach it. So we got from the museum in Vienna the original.
Ask if everybody knows the Babel Tower.
Yes, so I think
it's very important. Renaissance, not Italian. Bruegel. I think the audience is familiar with this great painting that is in the Cultural Museum of Vienna.
Kunstmuseum in Vienna.
Do you know him? Okay.
Yes. So if you don't know, there is a nice trip to Vienna. There are airplanes or whatever to receive, and so you can also virtually go there. So there's not a problem. So like you see here, here I tried to make the deformation of the tower and show what Bruegel in the epoch tried to interpret in his painting, and he did in somehow the same thing as we are doing nowadays. So he was also having sort of not language problems, but visualization problems. So he has taken the mythology of the Tower of Babel, which in the end it was only a mythology idea. It was never have been built, but it comes into the painting and comes into the different writings through the epoch and through the history, through the Old Testament and things like that. It appears all these kind of stories. So this is the way he tried to compose the Tower of Babel into a Flemish landscape. So that means a Nordic landscape. He posed the Tower of Babel, which originally was conceived in Mesopotamia, which is now in the Near East. So in that way, it's already like nowadays the artificial intelligence is composing and puts together these things. This here we see, for example, the main personage. He was basically also influenced. Like if you put here now the code in artificial intelligence and say how do you address this personage, which was the one who commissioned and oversee the project. He was dressed like the governor of the Spanish time in that time. So he tried to put together. Speaking about Renaissance. He was traveling to Rome, so he was very fascinated by the Italian Renaissance as a painter, but he was not interested in the paintings because he had his own style, he had these things that he worked out by himself, but he was interested in the architectonical issue of the Colosseum. So this was one of the points where he got inspired to build up his building. So this building is an elliptical building, and in this building he brought in people living inside it. You can see in the work downstairs all the details. He has brought into the painting all the details of the workers. So many workers. So there was the problem also politically speaking and historically speaking. There was the problem in between Christianism, Protestantism, and he brought in this contrasting jealousy, building up, so sort of the reaching the heaven to make a major point of reference of bringing everything together, and then basically the speaking of the language was basically then banned by God by that time, not by the software in the mythology, and he basically announced the breaking down of the Tower of Babel. And in the details, when you go very close into the details, so we can zoom with the gigapixel that we have gotten from the museum in Vienna. We got the authorization to use that. We can zoom into 50 times and zoom. We can enlarge the image and we can see all the details. And there you see all the cracks and all the possibilities that the tower basically already in the base when it was built up was already full of cracks and full of problems that it will not reach the height because it has the weight will break it down. So this is how we have sort of brought into that idea of the project. So I invite you to see it who didn't see it there. I have a second project here. Maybe I hang it on this.
Before starting, sorry, Sos, may I interrupt you a moment. We have seen just a visualization, modern visualization of this beautiful painting that you can see in reality in the museum in Vienna. Bruegel, as a painting, create a painting pretty small in size, but with so many details that just with the eye he can go inside with this extraordinary technology and see all the particulars of this painting. Unfortunately, he couldn't run this zooming in this computer. That's why you will be obliged to come in the other stand and zooming in the beautiful painting of Peter Gruber. Is a painting, first time that the museum in Vienna permits this painting to be presented in an audience that is business audience and in a technology area. Because of Professor Fisnaller that has been able to create this partnership and also create a beautiful synergy between, sorry, my English, between the story of the Bible and the tour. There was the man that wanted to build the tower, highest and rich God, because they spoke the same language, so they are starting building a tower defying the gods. Today, we have a modern tower. Technology is like all the technologies, they make us able to speak the same language. You have Google Translation, you push a button, you translate whatever you want to say in another language, or you can with ChatGPT communicate or share questions and things to everyone in the world. So this technology is like a modern numeric tower that want, I don't say to defy God, but at least reach something common in our earth. Instead of bringing peace, for the moment we're still waiting. Then this common language and technology bring the humanity to talk together with more peaceful comment and sharing. So that's why this parallel is extraordinary, and it also is extraordinary the work that Professor Fisnaller can present to you in the stand, because he go inside the real tower, and is a unique experience. If you take a flight to go to Vienna, you are here, you see the painting that here, you see whatever you can see, and then you have to move out. Today, we are going to see the details inside any pieces of this tower, and it's amazing. So I invite you, please, to have a look if you have time. Please give us our second project that is beautiful.
Okay, the second project, as we go inside the tower, into the gigapixel of the digitalized painting, we go into, in the second project, can you show please the number 3? We go inside an apple. Okay, why inside an apple? I like to play in between cultural heritage, nature, and up-to-date situations and mix it together as technology nowadays allows to do that. So we have done this idea. So I was scanning an apple in one of my friend's place in New York, a medical place. We scanned an apple. I didn't go into this tunnel of scanning, a CT scan, and we scanned this apple, and so we have all the layers of information, layers of images that I could put together through all the technology, mixing together different issues of. I don't speak about technology now. It was good that he explained good things, so I'm not going into the detail. So I want to try to make a very poetic message to the visitors who see this project, to speak about problems which we are facing now in nature, which we speak about ecology, we speak about all these things, and it becomes a sort of a big burden, and in the end no one knows what's really going and who is doing good, who is doing bad. So I want to still keep an idea of a poetry to show you things that you don't see with naked eyes. So that's why I make as a first chapter, this is a series that I'm developing now, speaking about nature and the insides of nature, that what you don't see. So basically you bite into an apple, you eat the apple and you feel the apple, and the apple does you all the benefits of it, but you never see inside the apple. So here we go inside the apple, we see all the details, and I have made a premiere of this project in stereo in a screen of 16 meters by 9 meters. In stereo you can really get into the apple and you feel immersed into that. So then the apple, I describe nature parts of a macrocosmos, and somehow we are like a universe. So we go into this universe of nature, and as this is the first chapter, so I open this capital, this sort of chapter to get into this storytelling about nature and further on. So the utopia of living nature in a way. So the avatar, I let her grow out from a seed of an apple. So also to show the relationship that nowadays we can play with scales of imagination. So we don't have to be naturalistic and realistic and binded by it. So our imagination can fly. So this little avatar comes out of a seed of the apple, which is from 7 millimeters, scales up to 13, 20 meters, and it brings you as a guide through the different parts of the nature. And the apples develop on a landscape, which they become sort of the planets on a cosmos, in a constellation of a cosmos, and then it opens you a story to get into these things. So, and that is why also the avatar, which I designed here as in the first chapter, she is like an insect, like a human, so she's transforming because the wings become intelligent skin, and this intelligent skin allows her to develop throughout the different stories to morph from one stage to the other. We are working now on a second phase that we go under the water, look what is inside the sea and the problems of the sea and the beauty of the sea, not only the problems, because problems we get them anyhow, anywhere. So we show also what is the beautiful part on it, and she deforms into a ¿cómo se llama? Pólipo? An octopus. So because the octopus is another alien animal which we have in our universe, and as you know, the octopus has 9 brains. On each arm a brain, and it has 3 hearts. And so this is somehow like we are moving on now with artificial intelligence. So she's really representing this alien figure which can really transmit you the idea how this is being possible to do things. So she will go into the different nature and go inside, like we go here through the apple and enjoy sort of with a very pleasant music, which music has been composed on this, and we can get into the 3-dimensional idea. And everything is possible then to view in 3-dimensional, so you feel it with the music and you have an idea. So poetry is number 1, and imagination is number 2, because I want also the user that not I want to show you something that this is what I say, what it is, but I want to incentive you to bring you to an awareness, to a perception of things that we are living each day, and we forget about beauties, we forget about things that we have also in a positive way around us, and so we can melt this together to make a better view of how we are and what we can do. Thank you very much.
Let's change the story. We are going to travel in the past. with Antonella, and we are going to visit the studiolo of Isabella d'Este. Number 4.
Number 4. Yes, I have to say, good afternoon, everybody. I am more an engineer than an artist, so I start. Yes, but no boundaries anymore. But just to explain where I work in a supercomputing center, and which is called the ᴛᴜʀᴏ. It's an interconsortium university, and we have this huge supercomputer now, which has a particular architecture for AI. So it's really a tool. It's really a virtual laboratory which can be used in all the research fields. And what's important that we pay attention also to the digital humanities field and also to the artistic field. So we have many projects, also European projects, and we host artists that want to use this kind of resources for their installation or what they want to do. So giving this environment, the idea was to, we can go to the other video.
Say something to Leonardo.
Oh, yes, Leonardo is to Isabella. Leonardo is one of the most powerful supercomputing now in Europe. It's an European resources available to all European researchers in all the many fields, scientific fields, and as I said before, also for digital humanities project. It's in Bologna, Tecnopolo area, and what's interesting is that we are paying attention also to the problem of energy. So it's ranked in the top 10 supercomputer, powerful supercomputer, but we are also in the rank for the more green computing center. This is very important nowadays, and also it's important to deal with AI in an appropriate way, just because there is, and to choose the right projects. We have to use this kind of supercomputing facilities for drug design. In order, we are trying to use supercomputer for good. That's the idea. And also, arts can help us in explaining better this kind of tools. Moving to cultural heritage. Yeah.
If the video runs in the right position, can you put the video of the studiolo Isabella d'Este?
Yes. The idea here was why. Okay. What?
Wait a second.
Let's wait a second. So, can you explain, Isabella d'Este? You are perfect.
Perfect.
Yes. While
first of all, I would like to say one thing more about this beautiful computer. I was in Bologna, and I had the chance to enter it. First of all, you should put 2 jackets on top, because it's cold, it's like in a freezing area that should be kept. And also the consuming of water and energy for the computer is very important. So that's why it's right having a supercomputer, the European, not only for French research or Italian or Greek or whatever, a supercomputer that helps general research for all Europe. And they are keep a lot of attention about water consuming and electricity consuming. That's very important, because we are used to think that these resources are available forever, but we are in a Earth for the moment, and the problem of water, problem of energy, problem of all the material that are substituting all this technology that are rare material. We have war about this material. So it's very important thinking about the resources, the earth resources that we are consuming with technology. So here the first studio. No, this is.
No, Isabella.
Okay.
Explain Isabella as you prefer. So I
am Italian. Can explain Isabella d'Este. Do you know Mantova? Yes, Mantova is a beautiful town, and Isabella d'Este, you can confirm the date and things.
Yes,
maybe I forgot.
Just a brief introduction.
Isabella d'Este was a beautiful woman that lived in the end of the 15th century.
Yes.
She got married to the Duke of Mantua, I think when she was 17.
Yes.
The first duty of a lady of this time was to make children. So she did 5 children for the Duke of Mantova, so first duty accomplished during her time. She was very young and had 5 beautiful children for the Grand Duché of Mantua. But she was also a very cultivated woman. She was beautiful first, but very cultivated. She was able to paint, to play a musical instrument, but she loved art and she was able to write, first of all, reading and write for the time. And she wrote
28,000 letters.
28,000 of letters. And I hope that in the video you will see how was the writing on those days and how close the letter. We didn't have a sketch or whatever and stamp. How was written the letter? 28,000 letters.
Yes.
Thanks to this beautiful computer and all the research of Cineca has been scanned, interpreted, and since the writing of her, Cineca was able, the writer, she was able to recreate what is called the studiolo of Isabella d'Este. If you go to Mantova now, you can visit the palace, but there is an empty space in which you go and you say, this is the beautiful studiolo of Isabella d'Este. All the paintings that are there, the decoration and everything, were lost. 2 are in the Louvre, others are in other museums. When Napoleon passed by Italy, took some beautiful painting. So we are able now to recreate and to visit in the past how was the studiolo of Isabella d'Este because of her letters. So that I think is great, because we have memory of something that is not real anymore and will become real because of artificial intelligence and virtual reality.
Yes.
So,
okay,
that was perfect.
I just add our idea is really to recreate a sort of, let's say, digital twin of this space. And what's important in the definition of digital twin, I think we have to put together all the expertise, competence we need in order to understand this space. So we need experts in architecture, in Renaissance literature, art historians. So the idea is to create, to tend to a digital twin in which we have all these expertise joined together inside this space, but we can be helped also by artificial intelligence tools, because as Diana said, Isabella wrote more than 28 letters, and what are we do? 1,000, sorry, letters, and what we are doing is training AI tools in order to have the transcriptions of all these letters. And what's important, what I want to stress, it's very important to create frameworks in which experts and IT people can work together in order to create the right tools for this kind of application. And it's a huge treasure trove to have all these letters transcribed, because it's new stuff for new creative application. Because if you come and we can see together the letters from Lucrezia Borgia, which are unpublished, because now we are translating them using artificial intelligence. And I have to say that we are digitizing a lot of microfilms. There is a huge content which will be available to engineers and artists for working together, and we need this kind of graphic artistic also interface in order to explain the beauty of the research, the complexity, and also to engage students in understanding what's artificial intelligence by showing how you can train and prepare a data set of this kind of digitized letters written with a particular handwriting. So please, if you want to see more about letters and AI, come to... I think that now we have to...
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, I think I can pass the microphone for question to each of us, please. Grazie.
Bonjour, hello. I don't have a question, just I want to say it's really, really a nice example why we use AI and digital twin to discover the past. It's really an excellent idea. I know many use cases using AI, but this one it's really, really human and for humans. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I know, I want to know more about Leonardo, but after. Okay, thank you.
Io desideravo chiedere della Divina Commedia, perché hai scelto l'inferno, considerando che le cantiche sono tre, purgatorio e poi paradiso? E perché si è cominciato per poi terminare o c'era una ragione particolare? Grazie.
Okay. Basically, the reason is it's more you can better understand which kind of condemnation the souls are suffering. What I mean is that during the purgatory and the paradise, Dante makes a very, very nice explanation of the feeling of the protagonists in order by talking to them. It's there's a lot. There's much more dialogues in the second and third part of the Divine Comedy. In the first one, the majority of the action is explained by actions, by the scene that are converted into the penalty that the souls are suffering. And this, aesthetically speaking, is something that you can better represent, because it's easier, let's say, to represent an action than a talking. So it was one of the reasons is this. The second one is basically a preference, which is my preference for the losers and not for the winners. And the third one is that we have the Gustave Doré hell as a major reference for the collective imagination of how the hell envelops. And I felt the need to have another kind of representation of the hell, so it was basically for myself.
Portrait, because we have portrait of Dante when he was living in Florence in his time. So what he did is a mix of imagination about hell and reality of the personage that has been living in Florence during the time. And Dante was talking about a real person that went to the hell.
La risposta in italiano? Velocemente 3 ragioni per cui ho scelto l'inferno. La prima è perché nell'inferno c'è molta più azione rispetto al purgatorio e al paradiso, e quando devi rappresentare qualcosa a livello di immagine, a livello figurativo, rappresentare un'azione è molto più facile che rappresentare un dialogo, ad esempio. È più interessante. Il secondo motivo è una preferenza personale, perché mi piacciono i perdenti, e invece quelli che vincono, non ho mai tifato per una squadra che vince il campionato, tifo sempre per quelle che stanno sotto nella classifica. Non so perché mi piacciono i perdenti, perché mi piace il viaggio dell'eroe, no? Che da perdente diventa qualcosa di più. E il terzo motivo è perché la rappresentazione collettiva dell'inferno è in mano al doré, e questa quasi univoca visione dell'inferno mi ha fatto nascere la necessità di avere un'alternativa che a me soddisfacesse maggiormente. Non sto facendo paragoni col doré, assolutamente, che a me soddisfacesse maggiormente, quindi mi piaceva questo stile gotico e liquido, con cui, senza volti, con cui gli unici volti che si potevano vedere erano quelli dei dannati e non quelli di Dante e Virgilio, e quindi mi piaceva questa espressione poetica a livello estetico.
I have a quantitative.
That he is a scenographer, and so this is also where scenography comes out very much.
Sorry for interrupting. I just calculated that Isabella lived for 64 years, and she lived 23,360 days approximately. So provided that she was pregnant 5 times and husband and this and that, I assume that she was writing letters for about 14,000 days. It means that 2 letters a day out of 28,000, right? Question is, first of all, are you sure that all these letters are hers? Second of all, in the history of humanity and art or whatever, have you seen anyone else writing 2 letters a day? And why? And why she did that? I mean, she didn't have ChatGPT, obviously, so what was the point?
For sure, the letters are not long letters. There are letters just 3-4 rows, and she has a lot of secretaries, so like using... Yes, it's a good question, and for sure she didn't write herself. She didn't write the letters, but yes, there are letters of different kinds. There are important letters to Leonardo, but there are also letters for recipes, for for events. So it's really. Feasible. There are in the archive of Mantua, and it's really Isabella letters.
But it's also a writing, that's very important. It was a writing for the 14th, 15th century, and the writing is not exactly the same that the writing that we have today. So for training a machine to learn how to interpret even the main important letter and to get the description of the studiolo, he had the machine, I mean the computer, had to learn the calligraphy that was used by her. I think that everyone is familiar with the doctors, that when they write something, only the pharmacist can read it. So it was writing in a very special way during this time.
So
and
now
the machine need training.
Now that you made the calculation of the timing, we could also now, through artificial intelligence, calculate how much liter of ink she used on the paper. So that's another way. That's another gimmick.
Thank you, Franz. I try to do the question in English. It's a question about how you manage, it's for Franz and for Corrado, for both. How do you manage the artificial intelligence in order to have the last result? Do you demand with the prompt, do you scusate, vado in italiano, è difficile da esprimere. Ci sono diversi piani, diversi livelli nell'immagine. C'è il fondo, la scena, gli elementi che costituiscono la scena, i personaggi. Tutto questo è costruito parte per parte, cioè ogni personaggio a sé stante, ogni elemento della scena a sé stante, e poi è fatto un match finale come un montaggio di immagini fotografiche e video, o è generato tutto in una volta dando dei prompt molto dettagliati che descrivono una situazione complessa?
Ok, sorry. Si sente? Si sente? Okay. Well, just to translate the question is when you describe the prompt into the software, how do you manage to compose the image according to a particular protagonist, a particular size of the protagonist in the environment, a particular composition of the environment? How much control do we have when we use artificial intelligence? To answer briefly to this kind of question, I can make an example about the Ponte of Malebolge, which is the Malebolge Bridge. The Ponte of Malebolge is an image in aspect ratio 16:9, so it's a cinematic horizontal way of representing a landscape. Okay, so imagine an horizontal bridge. When you write a bridge made of stone, the software make a bridge made of big stone. If you use the language from another software, which is the 3D CGI software, where you say texture to indicate the surface of the material, when you use a bridge text to read in stone, you accomplish the task to reach a bridge that is made with a surface of stone. And this is a way to control with the language. In order to have the protagonist in the background, in the foreground, you write foreground Dante and Virgilio long shot, because you want a very wide angle of the camera. Long shot is another term from another software, which is the 3D camera mapping software. So just to answer briefly the question, if you want to control, you have to use the language of other machines to control a machine. So the human part will leave.
Very important.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone. We are very happy to continue the discussion in the stand. Very happy. Thank you.